So, so we were talking about the types of ethics in which we have discussed about the recognizational ethics, right? So when you talk about recognizational ethics, you have to understand people recognize the team members, people recognize the employees of an organization, people measures your performance by the process of performance evaluation, and there sometimes the recognition goes to the people those who are favorite to a management, or recognition goes to the people those who are partially selected by the management. So the companies, managers, business owners, and all the people those who are decision maker in the organization should follow recognition ethics in terms of selecting people for being recognized, selecting people for appreciations in terms of uh, understanding the requirement of your understanding the requirement for the selection of people for rewards, recognition, and awards, and any kind of bonuses and all. So that is something called recognizational ethics. And as we have discussed, it helps you for solving the conflicts of business also. And I was started talking about participatory ethics. So participatory ethics, I have I was giving you an example of we always keep talking about the teamwork. We always keep about talking about the uh, teamwork, team spirit for the managerial for any kind of task in the company, right? And you all have gone through some such kind of uh, group activities in your MBA program also. So you might have observed what kind of participatory ethics your people and your classmates have shown during the that particular group work or group project or group presentation, right? So participatory ethics generally indicates the behavior of individual and proactiveness of individual to take part in the organizational activities, in the organizational function, right? So what kind of behavior you have when you talk about the your proactive participation in the company, in the task in your team, or the task allotted to your team, right? So actually this participatory ethics are something should be something which is moving, or which is taking your company towards a common good thing. In the sense, your goal should be, your team goal should be should be aim to create something good in terms of developing some new business. For example, if you are talking about developing some new business for your organization, how would you be participative into that? You would be participative in such kind of activity by providing your ideas proactively. It should not like you will only speak whenever is being asked to you. So if you have some good ideas for developing new business in your organization, you can proactively take participated in that decision making, and you will give your values, your value addition to particular decision making process. So being participatory is also also a ethical aspect of your job, of your profile in the organization. तो सिर्फ अपना दिया हुआ काम करना, या प्रोएक्टिवली किसी अच्छे काम में पार्टिसिपेशन लेके एफर्ट देना, दैट इज व्हाट इज द चॉइस ऑफ इंडिविजुअल, एंड विच डिसाइड्स अबाउट वेदर द business ethics of that individual are up to the mark, or there is some issue with the business ethics of the individual. तो आपको आपको जब प्रेजेंटेशन दिया जाता था, या प्रेजेंटेशन बनाने को बोला जाता था किसी चीज पे, किसी टॉपिक पे एज एन असाइनमेंट, हाउ एंड व्हाट काइंड ऑफ इथिक्स यू पीपल हैव फॉलोड? दो या तीन लोग प्रेजेंटेशन बनाते हैं, कभी कभी तो एक ही लोग बनाता है जो ग्रुप में, द पर्सन हु इज bit ethical about his MBA program, bit ethical about the expenses and money of your parents which you have spent on your MBA program. If you have your moral values, your ethical values at the place, you will care about those things. And few people of your group, at the max one or two people create the presentation. They study the topic, they find out the points, and rest all three four people joins them on the last moment in the presentation. and whenever the another person asks, now next part will be taken care by my friend, then you come with the blazer tie and all the required attitude of a good presenter, and you stand there and you present few slides. You don't present few slides, you read few slides, maybe one or two slides, couple of slides, and you take a credit of that particular presentation made by somebody else. So participatory in taking credit and not participating in taking efforts, it is something called as the participatory ethics, right? So when you talk about recognition ethics, it's about managers function, it's about maybe a team leader's function, or it's about maybe a functional employee's aspect also, because he also recognizes someone. He everyone, maybe the lowest lower level of the management needs to recognize few people. Recognitions can be reverse also. Your subordinates also can recognize you for the better thing. It's not necessary you being a manager always recognize people. नीचे वाले लोग भी आपको recognize कर सकते हैं. You are doing great job. You are helping us to grow. All in such kind of things. So participatory ethics, being ethical in terms of participating in efforts, and then expecting the recognitions and rewards after your participation, and then taking credit of the outcome of your team. नहीं तो क्या होता है, most of the teams are like people are functioning in 80-20 principle. 80-20 principle क्या है? In teams what happens, 80% people work with a relaxed attitude. They don't bother a lot to work proactively, to work sincerely, or to work at the best. But 20% people are always there in the team who puts their 100% in the work and get that job done. So 80-20 principle is applicable in most of the teams. So it is your ethical choice whether you want to become into that 20% of performing people, or you want to become into the 80% of those non-performing people. So participatory ethics is something which is individual's choice. Yes. Bolo Dipti.
Sir, who is Android Blue Droid? Please name your name, yaar.
I don't know. You can ask them.
Yes, yes, मैं उसी को बोल रही हूँ कि अपना name rename करे, otherwise they do not get the attendance.
Who is bothered of the attendance, Dipti? It is you and me who need to take care of all the things, right? Because we are following our jobs.
Yes, sir, start the session, no problem.
I understand. Let it be. So the concerned person can change your name if you have time and if you are there on the meeting. Sometimes very possible you must have just logged in and moved away from somewhere. So leave it. Don't worry. If you could not give attendance, don't give. It's not that.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So the next point we were talking about is about transactional ethics. So far, so clear? Any doubt? I believe you must have understood something. कुछ समझ में आ रहा है? टाइम वेस्ट हो रहा है. नेक्स्ट लेक्चर ऑनवर्ड्स दीप्ति मैं आपको अकेले को पढ़ाऊंगा, मुझे कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं. जो बात करेगा उसको पढ़ाएंगे अपन. चलो.
Okay, sir.
सो आई बिलीव समझ में आया होगा आपको. नहीं आया है फिर भी आगे चलते हैं.
Yes, sir.
क्योंकि देयर इज नो रिस्पॉन्स. So we will talk about third point, that is transactional ethics, right? So as we all know that, see, we are talking in context of business ethics. So I'll give you the example of business aspect of this particular point only. But in general, if you see about this transactional ethics, what happens? What do? We as human being, we all know that We are the people, or we are the animal which lives in the group, right? Human beings are the animal which lives in the group, and we are called as the social animal, right? We are social animal. And what happens when we are living in the society? What happens when we are living in the society? We do various transactions, we do many transactions. And transactions does not mean only monetary transactions, right? Transactions does not mean only monetary transactions. So what kind of other transactions we have? We exchange information, right? We exchange information, we exchange goods, we exchange money, we exchange thought, we exchange expressions, we exchange energy, we exchange positive negative energy in terms of thinking positive for someone or thinking negative for someone, right? So when I joined this particular session, I was angry on all the class, right? So that time, what kind of expectations or what kind of thoughts I would have uh, created in my mind for people those who are in the session? But now I have changed my thought. So now I am in a different mode of transaction. I am in a different mode of transaction of my thoughts towards you, right? So the point is that when you talk about the transactional ethics, you have टू टेक इन, बोलते हैं ना कि जब आप जॉब में हो, जब जब आप प्रोफेशन में हो, यदि किसी का बुरा सोचोगे तो आप आपके साथ ही बुरा होगा, या फिर किसी के बारे में बुरा नहीं सोचना चाहिए. व्हाट इज दैट? नॉट हैविंग नेगेटिव एटीट्यूड टुवर्ड्स एनीवन, और हैविंग positive attitude towards anyone in your team, in your office, in your job, transacts the positive vibes of your personality, transacts the positive nature of yourself in your team. It reflects your positivity by your behavior, right? So transactional ethics means thinking positive and creating positive impact through every transaction you do in the company, or creating the better things, good things for the society by all the means of transactions you are doing with all the people in company, in your social life, in your personal life, right? So transactions, the biggest transactional scam happens into this biggest uh, breach of transactional ethics happens in terms of monetary transactions, right? Biggest transactional breach transactional breach happens, or biggest breach of your transactional ethics happens when you are into a monetary transaction. हम लोगों को पता है हमारे देश में कितना करप्शन चलता है, कितने ट्रांजेक्शन्स है जो हम खुद छुपाते हैं. 100 times we must have breached this transactional ethics when we are dealing with our parents for taking the money in terms of fees, in terms of our pocket money, in terms of our routine expenses. Every one of us does that. I too have did that many times. I was also there in hostels and away from my home for education, from my fifth class to the graduation, to the post graduation, right? So everyone knows how do we breach those transactional ethics in our daily behavior. Similar happens in the corporate world also. What happens? Managers breaches the transactional ethics, which we should not do, which is never recommended, and which is never accepted in your corporate life also. So where do you do breach? कहाँ पे तोड़ते हो आप transactional ethics? See, you all must have heard that the procurement managers scams कहाँ होते हैं? We all know that, but still let me highlight 2-3 points so that you will understand. See, in terms of uh, in terms of purchasing something for your company, you are asking commission to the vendor, right? People ask, managers ask commission for the vendor. मैं तुमको बिजनेस देता हूँ किसी कंपनी के साथ, तुम मुझे 2% 5% निकाल के दे दो. That's a transactional breach of transactional ethics, right? And now the situation of this breach of transactional ethics in India is such a horrible, you cannot imagine even क्या क्या होता है। ऐसा कोई ट्रांजेक्शन ही नहीं है जो इथिकली होता होगा मेरे हिसाब से। देर मे बी वेरी फ्यू ट्रांजेक्शंस हैपन्स इथिकली, राइट। सो आपने बहुत बार सुना होगा, दे मोस्ट ऑफ द लाइक पीपल हैव बीन लूटेड बाय द ग्रुप्स ऑफ गुन्स, दोज हु आर सेइंग दैट वी विल गिव यू जॉब्स एंड यू गिव अस द मनी। सरकारी नौकरी के लिए किसी ने पैसा दिया, उसका 20 लाख गया, 50 लाख गया, ये सब चीजें, राइट। So this is kind of transactional, monetary transactional breach. When it happens about the transactional ethics in terms of uh, your behavior, your thought process, you as a manager scolding on the people, keeping them dominated, right? Not treating your people with kind and polite attitude, even though if they are not performing. Manager has no right to shout on other people, right? You all should understand. You should be able to communicate your thoughts in a sophisticated parliamentary manner, right? आप मैनेजर हो, आप इंफॉर्मेशन ट्रांजैक्शन करते हो, इंफॉर्मेशन ट्रांसफर करते हो, ऑर्डर्स ट्रांसफर करते हो, इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि आप जिस तरीके से चाहे बात करो। So transactional ethics in terms of giving orders, transactional ethics in terms of taking stock of the situation, taking updates, providing information from one department to another department, communicating requirements, growth, development of your department to other department, there the transactions happens. And transaction happens with your customers at large. Customers के साथ transactions बहुत ज़्यादा होते हैं। For example, maybe delivering good quality products and services with higher value of your products and services. So that's also kind of transactional ethics. There you need to do your business ethically. There you need to take care of uh, your business values, considering ethical transactions, right? So customer के साथ deal करने के time पे you have to take care of your transactional ethics. So I believe आपको समझ में आ गया होगा कहाँ कहाँ पे होते हैं ethics, transactional ethics का application. So that's what we were talking, and see, this is application of types of business ethics, right? This is common and general business ethics, common and general types of business ethics. You can just go through those points on your screen and you can understand what are the types of common and general business ethics. As you can see, loyalty, honesty, integrity, promise keeping, that is commitment, concern for others, respect for others, that is again a transactional kind of ethics. So these are the applications of these three types of ethics. These all points can be classified in those three things. इन सब चीजों को इन तीन में क्लासिफाई किया जा सकता है, right? So when you talk about loyalty, honesty, integrity, that is about the transactional ethics. Then trustworthiness, solidarity, and fairness and equality, caring and dialogue. That is again when you talk to your people, when you have a dialogue with your people, you should कहीं लिखा नहीं है कि आप अपने एम्प्लॉयज का, आप अपने टीममेट्स का केयर करो, उनसे बात करो, उनके उनके पर्सनल इश्यूज को समझिए, जानिए, यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड देयर इश्यूज, प्रॉब्लम्स इन देयर पर्सनल लाइफ, प्रोफेशनल लाइफ, ये कहीं लिखा नहीं है, बट स्टिल individuals can follow this caring and dialogue attitude in the job profile. So rest all the things like loyalty, honesty, integrity we have discussed in previous session. in details. So community and environmental responsibility. See, the community and environmental responsibility, in terms of environmental, you may all know that the uh, efforts of companies in terms of reducing pollutions, in terms of adopting green marketing practices, in terms of adopting environment friendly business, eco friendly business activities. That is something, the environmental responsibility ethics you can consider in your business decisions, in your business function. So when you talk about community and community ethics, what is that community ethics? As I was talking to you all about creating the products which are not harmful for the society, creating the products which are not harmful for the society, or while you are creating products, you are taking care of the social responsibility of organization. For example, not using the non permitted preservatives in your food items, or not using any chemical in a fast moving consumable goods which is banned by the government. That can be the community ethics that every company can consider. मैगी का स्टोरी सुना है आप लोगों ने? मैगी में क्या होता है, क्या होता था? वो लीड कंटेंट आता था, राइट? लीड कंटेंट इज बीइंग यूज्ड इन द मैगी. आई डोंट नो ये लीड का खाने में काम भी क्या है, वो पता नहीं मुझे. आई डोंट नो व्हाई इट इज, बट इट इज मे बी बिकॉज it might have been used to create specific taste, or it might have been used to create that USP of 2 minutes noodles, right? It might have been used to create that USP of 2 minute noodles. This lead content might be useful for smoothing the noodles in less time. I don't know, right? जल्दी पकने के लिए वो लीड का कुछ यूज होता होगा, नहीं तो कंपनी डालेगी क्यों? कंपनी को पता है ना, दिस इज नॉट socially acceptable and this is against the social ethics of the community ethics of the organization, then why should they put it into? वो क्यों रखा है? कुछ तो एडवांटेज होगा टू मेक देयर प्रोडक्ट यूनिक देन देयर कॉम्पिटिटर्स, तभी वो करते हैं. बट adopting such practices or doing your business by adopting unfavorable business practices for the society is against your community ethics, right? So ये सब चीज़ों को याद रखना चाहिए बिजनेस करने के टाइम पे. So your community and environmental responsibility ethics is something you need to take care. So personal responsibility, representative or official responsibility, that is about, we were talking about participative ethics, whether you are representing yourself in the common goals of organization or you are just doing job for satisfaction of your personal goals. That's the point coming under this particular thing. So personal loyalty, corporate responsibilities, organizational loyalty, economic responsibilities, technical morality, legal responsibility, these all are the types of business ethics you need to consider. And when you talk about this last 2-3 points, economic responsibilities is all about cost reduction, is all about doing your business most affordable ways. How can you do it? So being authority, you have, being authority, being a manager level employee, you can take decision at your own. कोई रॉ मटेरियल परचेस करना चाहते हो, you are a decision maker for your company. You have to understand what is the economic feasibility of that deal you are making, and their ethics, your economic ethics, your technical, your morality comes into picture, right? आप 7 रुपीज पर यूनिट से भी परचेस कर सकते हो, 5 रुपीज पर यूनिट से भी परचेस कर सकते हो. maybe the quality and material used for that material is similar, for that raw material is similar, and you are giving it to your favorite vendor at 7 rupees per unit. What is the thing you are doing here? You are breaching upon your economic responsibilities, economic ethics, right? So doing the business most affordable way is a managerial responsibility, and you have to consider that ethics when you talk about the economic and moral responsibilities towards your organization. Technical morality may be not sharing your own technology to someone else, like like uh, the our neighboring country Pakistan has stolen the technology of nuclear energy uh, from other countries in terms of hijacking their scientists and all so many things. तो ऐसे कंपनी में भी हो सकता है, right? Technical morality, you are not sharing your own technology, or you are not sharing your own uh, research and development outcomes, efforts, or forget about selling, you are not leaking it to your competitors. Sometimes what happens, you develop some good products by using your existing company's resources, and you switch the company for your betterment, for your own betterment, and you apply those things there in that particular company. That is, you are switching your technical aspects of performance to your competitor. एक 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 बहुत सटीक एग्जांपल इसका ऐसा है, most of the people working, most of the people taking education from IITs and IIMs of our own Indian institutes, gets placed in the foreign universities and in the foreign companies, corporates, and they get the very high salary jobs there, and they work for other country, they work for other people, they don't work for their own people. So the technical morality of this particular thing, I am not saying it is exactly wrong or it is extremely wrong that they go somewhere. It's not that way, but this is somewhere a breach of technical morality of yourself. You are learning using the resources of India. For example, you are a space scientist, or you are a physicist, like you are a physics expert, and you learn your uh, engineering in physics from IIT, and you are working for NASA to get their space shuttle or जो भी है space program completed, their missions, space missions and all. What are you doing? You have learned on the scholarships provided by Indian government and working for other country. So somewhere the morality comes into picture, and the same technology, if we want to purchase from US, then we have to spend thousands of crores of dollars, lakhs of crores of dollars. So can be an aspect of, right. You can understand the aspect of this technical morality by this point, though it can be debated in both the ways, positive, negative, but still this can be a leading point for your understanding. समझने के लिए आप इसको consider कर सकते हो. Similar thing happens if you get something new in your research and development department of organization. You are switching somewhere. That should not happen, right? And even if you switch, you should not transfer that technology there. Generally, that all things are being secured by the Patent Act and all. So there are multiple ways to avoid such things in organization. Need not to worry about that. बहुत कम जगह पे होता होगा, but it happens. लीगल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज, ये सब आपको पता है, इसके बारे में ज्यादा कुछ बोलने का जरूरत नहीं है. You know your legal responsibilities in terms of uh, in terms of your contract with your company, in terms of your contract with your organization, when, how, when, and what kind of remuneration, your responsibilities, performance appraisal, कब निकाले जा सकते हो जॉब से, कब नहीं, कब क्या रूल्स है, रेगुलेशन है, that all the things you need to understand. And that is also the managerial responsibility to complete your job deal according to the rules and regulations. And you need to follow many government rules as well, your organizational rules also. So that is something somewhere in a legal responsibilities. The best example for this legal responsibilities and your ethics is the implementation of few laws like minimum wages to your labor, right? Minimum wages to your labor. That is the managerial responsibility or organization's responsibility to get that legal consideration applied in your business and to provide those minimum wages to your employees. Another is application of the POSH Act, prevention of sexual harassment at workplace. ऐसा कुछ है, that is called as POSH, right? Uh, POSH Act, that legal requirement also has to be uh, ethically completed. So there are few more laws for the people working in the company and in any kind of organization which we need to consider. So ethics are according to the jobs also. Ethics are applicable to the jobs also. So I believe you must have understood this particular slide, and let's talk about the 3 C's of business ethics, right? Comply, contribute, consequences. For example, these ethics are not only there to learn and understand. You have to comply for them. You have to implement them in the business, right? Apart from the laws of land, moral principles, customs, and communities' expectations, it is necessary to comply with other rules and regulations. So, as I was telling you, that it is beyond the understanding, it is beyond the rules and regulations, and it is beyond only the written paper guidelines. So, it is difficult to comply. It needs the uh, just a second, let me close the door. It needs deliberated managerial efforts to comply on the ethical practices in your business, right? So, apart from your legal requirements, your moral responsibilities, your customs in the sense, what do you mean by customs? It's not custom duty here. Customs in the sense, the the we can say that non-written social principles of your behavior. It is not according to the custom of my society. It means it doesn't fits in the recommendation of my society, or like religious customs or family customs. You may have few things, घर पे नॉनवेज खा के आना नहीं है, या फिर घर में नॉनवेज बना नहीं है, बाहर से खा के आना है. It's your family custom. Similarly, you have to respect elders, women of your society, your social and social custom. So customs are nothing but the rules and regulations. So you have to compile all these things together in your business. So compilation is very important, right? So you have to comply on that. So comply मतलब करके लेना, implement करना, सिर्फ बातें करने से नहीं होता है, right? या सिर्फ पेपर पे लिखने से नहीं होता है. It has to be complied in the business, right? The contribution to society by producing high quality products and services of good value. So comply all the rules regulations, contribute for the betterment of society by providing high quality goods, right? So चाइना के प्रोडक्ट्स के जैसे प्रोडक्ट बना के कोई मतलब नहीं है, right? Product should have a high value. Value, you all know the difference between price, cost, and value. You are in the fourth semester of your MBA, and I believe you should know that. What is the value of product, right? So, value of products. So create high value product. Create high value products in affordable pricing, which helps customers to satisfy their need, wants, and demands. So contribute in the betterment. That is also ethical consideration. That is second C of your business ethics. And consequences. So as consequences can be of any type, intended or intentional or unintentional, and then internal or external caused by the businesses. So how, what kind of consequences you may face in your business, where you may face the conflicts. So conflicts can be intentional, unintentional. For example, intentional conflicts created by your competitors, right? Intentional conflicts created by your competitors in terms of getting higher mileage in your business competition. So ये जो रोनाल्डो का लेटेस्ट स्टोरी हुआ ना, कोको कोला वाला, यू नो, few experts of business industry in advertisement and branding says that that was the intentional act done by the Ronaldo. क्या Ronaldo, Ronaldinho जो भी है, I don't know his name properly. Ronaldo, right? Ronaldo. So it has been intentionally done by him, as per the opinion of few experts in advertisement and branding. Uh, Reason behind that, so this is a consequence for the Coca-Cola company, right? It has had a very big impact on the performance, share market performance of Coca-Cola. So valuation of the company has gone down tremendously by that act. So that's not unintended act. It's the intentional act done by this particular individual. And Q, because few years before, when that person, as per the information available on internet, I am saying, when that person was a brand ambassador of Pepsi company, instead of Pepsi, he has holded up the Coca-Cola's bottle. So Pepsi has fined him few of, sorry, when he was a brand ambassador of Coca-Cola company, he holded up the Pepsi's bottle, and Pepsi got an advantage during those days in market share and in valuation. And then those days Coca-Cola fined him few amount of his contracts of being a brand ambassador of that company. तो कुछ पैसे उसके काटे थे कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में से. अब वो बड़ा कॉन्ट्रैक्ट होगा, 100 200 300 करोड़ का. So that thing has been reverted by this person in this way to the Coca-Cola. मेरे पहले वाला आपका ब्रांड वेल, अब इस टाइम पे existingly he might represent other brands, might be representing other brands, right? So consequences can be intentional, unintentional, external, internal. Your employees can intentionally start few conflicts and consequences in your business, like strikes, union strikes, right? Intentionally, sometimes your mechanical people, those who are in a maintenance team, can create the shutdown, create the some kind of breakdowns in your machineries, right? Intentionally भी कर सकते हैं लोग, नहीं कर सकते ऐसे नहीं है. So that thing also has to be ethically dealt by all the people working in company. You should not have something intentionally done against your organization, right? So consequences should be dealt and understood properly by the business manager in terms of your business ethics, and those consequences can be internal, external, intentional, unintentional. Internal, external, internal, few people can create issues for you. Some of the employees can go against your decisions in the courts. They create consequences for you. So how do you deal with those consequences decides about your ethics of business. And it depends on your ethical values, your ethical understanding of your business organization. So every business manager has to work on these 3 points, that is comply on rules and regulation, contribute for the betterment of society, and consequences, deal with the consequences with higher ethics, higher ethical values. Do not do anything intentionally for your organization or maybe for your external competitors, external stakeholders. See, internal and external, it is like internal consequences created by Vijay Mallya, Nirav Modi, who has created consequences for their business. Is it that these people have a very high ethical value and moral values and so that they have run away from India by creating issues for their own company? विजय मल्ल्या का खुद का कंपनी खुद बनाया हुआ, इतनी बड़ी कंपनी को उसने खुद ही इशू क्रिएट कर दिया. So it's internal consequences because of the less ethical values of the business manager, right? So these things can happen internally also. So not necessarily every time the external people will come and harm your business. You can take care of those things by dealing with such people ethically. So if your ethics are higher, you will have less consequences. Though it is internal, though it is external, if your ethical values are positive and well developed, well groomed, you will never face consequences. You will face less consequences. Never तो possible नहीं किसी business में. You will face less consequences. समझ में आ रहा है कुछ?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I think I will show you the syllabus once.